Final part in our series of how to connect to other applications using Zapier to do that. If you haven't looked at part 1 yet, I suggest you go over and have a look at part 1 to show you how to get set up with Zapier in the first place, how you can log in and sign in, and how you can get connections to your applications to do that. Part 4 is going to show you how you can create a purchase order using Zapier using detail from another application. In this case, we're going to use any new row in a Google Sheet to produce a draft purchase order for us every time a new row has been added. So let's get started. First of all, we need to check out our purchase order system and see which fields are required, because they're the ones you're going to need to make sure are in the Google Sheet every time you create a PO. So let's go to create a new purchase request. And we can see here anything with a red star against it is a required field. So here we need a delivery date, we need agreement approved and upload, we need a currency, we need the supplier, the department, the issuing department is there, and we need a description, budget, unit price, quantity, tax rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a Google Sheet. Here's one I've got here, and we're going to create headers in that Google Sheet. In this case, supplier, description, quantity, unit price, delivery date, currency, and I'll put agree and upload as a field in there as well. So what we're going to do, every time a new row gets added to this spreadsheet, we're going to create a draft purchase order from that row, directly from that row. So let's go into Zapier and let's create a new Zap from that. And in this case, our trigger is going to be Google Sheets, because we want to trigger every time a new row is created. So let's go down here and pick Google Sheets and select our trigger event, new spreadsheet row, and click continue. And let's choose our Google Sheets account. We added that before. There it is. And let's go and choose the spreadsheet we want. In this case, it's called Zapier Demo. There we go. And we'll choose the worksheet. So I've got 2 worksheets. I've got one from the part 2 demo, and then I have another sheet that I created just for this part 4 demo. So click on continue. So now we need to test it, and we test this by putting some data into one of the rows so that it fires that trigger. So let's go test the trigger, and what we'll do is we'll create a supplier. Quantity 3, unit price 50, delivery date will be let's put in the 20th of November 2020, currency USD, and agree and upload, we'll put 1 for yes. And we press return. Now that will trigger a new row has been created. So let's test the trigger again, because it didn't find it, and now it found it straight away. So a new row is created, it's got our detail in it. Perfect. So let's save that. Now we need to start our action as normal. In this case, we're going to choose Procurement Express as the action. And what action event do we want? Well, we can create a budget with an action, we can create a supplier with an action, create a purchase order, or create a draft purchase order, which is what we'll do. This is the easiest type to create, because you don't have to worry about making sure everything's correct when you're creating a draft, because it's only a draft. So we'll create a draft. One thing about drafts is that you can create them as other people. So I could create a draft for a colleague if I wanted to, and that way I can make sure that I'm creating a draft within their account. I can only do that if I'm an admin, but I can create drafts as other people. So again, let's choose our Procurement Express account. We've chosen that already, or we've set that up already. Now we can continue, and we're going to need to choose our company. So we're going to choose QuickBooks Test again. And now it pulls down all the fields that are available from that company, and it shows us which ones are required and which ones aren't. So we have to make sure that we fill out those required fields, even for drafts in this case. But we can go and we can take them from the Google Sheet. So let's click on, okay, supplier. Let's go find supplier. Supplier is Amazon. Department, let's choose a value for that. We'll default that to make things easy. In that case, there's only one department anyway, so we'll choose admin. Approvers, we're going to put none. We don't have any notes. Delivery date, that's a required field, so we're going to pick that and we're going to take that from the Google Sheet. In this case, our delivery date is the 20th of November. Put that in there. And the approve and upload button, we are going to, let's take that as true. And for these fields, so this is for the purchase order item details, so we're going to choose description, test item 4, and put in all the details that we've got. And for everything else, we're going to choose some defaults, but if you had them in a sheet, you could put them in as well. So unit price, we have that. We have the quantity 3, and we're going to choose some defaults for these ones as well, for these fields. So like I said, you can select it on behalf of another person or another account within or another user within that account, so you can create draft purchase orders in their account for them if you wanted to. We're going to click continue from there, and then we're going to do a test and continue. Excellent, that test was now successful. Now if we go into the Procurement Express account, we should see under requests and draft, we should see a new draft for $150. There it is, there's our new draft for $150 already created. So if we click on it, we should see the delivery date was the 20th of the 11th, which it is, and all the details are in there for this particular purchase order. That's good. Okay, now what we can do is we can turn the Zap on. Now it's on. Now it's on when we create a new purchase order line in this Google Sheet, a new row. Then it's going to create a new draft purchase order for us in Procurement Express. So if I put in Air America, I know that that's a supplier here that exists. We'll say test item 5, quantity 5, unit price 10. Let's put in 21st of the 11th, 2020. Let's put in the currency again and upload, and then we'll press return, so it's a new row, and that should show up in Procurement Express as a new draft purchase order. So if we go click on drafts again, and when we look at the drafts, we can see the purchase orders created from the draft purchase orders created from that Google Sheet row. So here's test item 5, delivery date 21st of the 11th, and so on. So you can do that. You can create purchase requests directly from other applications. So this is a very simple demonstration, taking a row from a Google Sheet and pushing that into to create a purchase order from it. But you can see how you might be able to use that in a more complicated scenario, maybe with an inventory system that works with Zapier. When a particular piece of inventory goes low, then you can create a purchase order request directly from that inventory request and restock the inventory item directly from that purchase order. So those kind of things you can do, and that gives you the ability to be able to link these different applications together so that you can actually get them working together in an automated fashion. So that's the end of our Zapier series, our 4-part series showing you from start to finish how you can start using Zapier. But like I said at the very beginning, there are over 1,000 applications that you can use to connect to Procurement Express and use Zapier to do that. So it's worth looking at what other applications you've got and see how you can automate Procurement Express and those other applications a lot further. If you have any questions at all about anything that we've spoken about today or anything else related to Procurement Express, you can always contact our support at procurementexpress.com or log into the app and go to the small chat widget on the bottom right hand corner and ask them questions about anything to do with Zapier or also anything to do with Procurement Express in general. Thanks for watching this, and look out for more series of videos coming out soon that are going to show you other parts of Procurement Express and how they work.